I am Gemini, super fly guy. I am Gemini, 2 heads, 1 eye.
Greetings, friends. Welcome back to Stars on Stage with Jadian, where we talk everything and anything astrological, numerology, and hidden occult knowledge. We continue the series with the third sign, Sun sign in Gemini. But first, please do not forget to like and subscribe this video to keep up to date and up to par with more videos coming as we continue learning on our journey through the zodiac, of course. We'll fall into more teachings, knowledge. So if you want to be on the Stars on Stage train, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to follow me on IG at Jadian Stage, JADEON just to stay up to date and up to par outside of astrology. Cool creative stuff. So without further ado, you know what it is. Let's dive in. So when you have your sun sign in Gemini, you have a very paradoxical, contradicting energy. You are in mutable air. So you're here, you're gone. And Gemini is all about mental stimulation, intellectual, and communications. Gemini is not one person, but two. It is the duality that we own within ourselves. Every person has two sides. So it is represented, of course, by the twins. And Gemini has a very curious nature, and it's ruled by Mercury, the good side of Mercury, hence good side, Virgo, the bad side of Mercury. Not coming off negative. There'll be an explanation to that once that video comes into play. However, Gemini is ruled by the good side of Mercury. It is a masculine planet, however, in my opinion, androgynous, because it's duality, it's two, the opposing. Bisexuality, metrosexual. Gemini is all about curiosity and absorbing information quickly, very witty, phenomenal storyteller. And Gemini is the energy that possesses passion for words. Gemini is communication, the best communicator. It is the communicator and rules communications of the zodiac. Yes. So whether that be they're hosting a grand party, having a TED talk, learning languages, I find a lot of Geminis are quick to download and again, they're the communicators. So learning languages is like can be like cake to them. It's very quick wit and being able to adapt to diversity very quickly. And we also have the appearance. So Gemini, they remind me of, you may have heard other astrologers say this, but they do. They have this very like elf-like or fairy-like features, sharp chins, cute side smirk, beautiful on screen. Marilyn Monroe, Johnny Depp, hence Johnny Depp. Don't know if you guys knew this, but Johnny Depp actually isn't a fan of, he's extremely, of course, handsome. We know that he has a look that is timeless, and that is very Gemini, that sparkle on screen. It's the opposing of Sagittarius, which is already fame, right? However, it still sparkles. It maintains that. Gemini wants to share the spotlight. That's why they sometimes can be misunderstood and looked at as the attention seeker. You know, it's really just, its energy is just nervous and it's interesting and it's communicative and it wants to be involved and it wants to share that shining starlight with everybody. So they have youthful looks, can eat anything and just like not gain a pound, it seems, or they just have, because they're just so youthful, they tend to be long, lean, and skinny, or just have that beautiful, again, timeless look. They're ruled by the hands, the arms, and the hands, mental stimulation. So maybe nice hand massages, arm massages, talking, stimulating the mind, holding good conversations are huge. I mean, androgynous zones for them for sure. Again, associated with communications and agilities, which is essentially, which reflects the movement and dexterity of these body parts. You know, mind, mouth, hands. Yeah, I would say that a Gemini definitely puts me in mind of a phone cord. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, the god of, or the messenger of the gods. So think of Cupid, right? The great communicator. And intellectual pursuits, um, hugs and kisses, holding hands, very dear to Gemini. So constant stimulation, because even when they get bored of being bored. So then they'll either talk more or go inside intellectually and talk. There's just constant go, go, go. And it's wonderful to be able to grasp on to things and just dive in and analyze them and learn them. However, Gemini has such a nervous energy, and again that mental stimulation of just, okay, ooh this, ooh this. It's almost like they're absorbing so much that they have to calm the mind down and be in the present moment, because having too much logic and too much order in that, or try it's almost like trying to logically break down emotion, because you see air signs they get confused when they have to face themselves. It's air, so it's when it comes to the emotions, it's like, oh, I'd rather not. Like I've read on emotion, I know about anger. I've been happy, I know how that is, and I also know what delirious is, and it's just almost like, yeah, but you have to feel it and you have to be present in it. And so the Gemini has to calm its nervous system. A great thing to do, I'm just going to do this for all my Gemini peeps. A great thing to do for Geminis when you are feeling that way is this. This calms the central nervous system. Tapping. Thank you. So very versatile, very adaptable, very changeable, a beautiful host, a phenomenal storyteller. The air signs are air, and air is intellect and mentality. Therefore, air signs, especially Gemini, have amazing ideas. Amazing ideas. And therefore that's why they have all this wit and they have this communication, because they teach us we need to be curious. We need to know how to communicate with each other. We need to want to learn and dive into information. So it's a great sign, in my opinion. When I think of Gemini, you think of short distance travel. So you think of your siblings, right? You go over and you see at Christmas. So that is very Gemini energy, because their sidereal is Cancer and Taurus. So essentially, yes, being able to find boundaries, which they do have that sidereal and they can learn it, but if they just calm their nervous system down and again live in the moment, hence like their opposing Sagittarius, it really can help them make better decisions straight forward, again like their opposing Sagittarius. So these people, they would do great in learning like science and physics and anything that deals with like Wikipedias. See, the Sagittarius will go out there and will voyage and explore and experience. And the Sag will bring that back to the Gemini, who will download all of it, analyze it. What's that? And when you go on the books, you have to annotate, right? Write it all down and teach it to the classroom logically. So again, being ruled by Mercury, Gemini love learning and sharing information. The phenomenal side, the curiosity, the great communications. That's why we say it's the light side, the good side of Mercury, because Mercury is ruled by Gemini and Virgo. Virgo, we call the bad side of Mercury because I analyze. So analyzing, nitpicking at things, because the Gemini, there is a type of perfection. So they analyze and fix. So people, or one would say it's the bad side, because obviously when we get analyzed or fixed, it's not very enduring, as if per se we're just living in the moment and communicating and being curious and expanding our minds and having wit and learning, go mentally. So there's a restriction, in my opinion, when it comes to Virgo versus Gemini, because again, Both signs are very mutable. Both signs are ruled by Mercury. And we're talking about Gemini right here, though. But it's chameleon-like. So the men are very curious. I always seem to see Gemini men talking in a crowd, or even if they're more introvert. It depends, because again, when you're with a Gemini, if you get with a Gemini man or woman, you're not getting with one person, you're getting with two people. And they do not like restriction, they do not like clinginess, and they don't. Geminis, what's great is I love when they go from one duality to another and they don't realize they're doing it. And it's really magical to see. Gemini's my favorite sign, and it's my opposite, but it is my favorite sign. And because Gemini obtains everything that I'm not good at, and that's the details and logic and not being philosophical all the time. So really, that Mercury is detail oriented, and with air, mutable air, it just wants to think. Following the Gemini men, good conversations with both the men and women. They're both very curious, versatile, all about mental stimulation, and really, really respect their freedom. They really, really do. So try not to get too caught up in your thoughts or all the information that you do have in your mind. Try to breathe and process one thing at a time. You can multitask, it is wonderful. However, you have to be mindful of that energy. So be adventurous, invoke, mobility of spirit, and try not to overwhelm yourself with information. Again, enjoy the moment, living in the moment, and don't get caught up in your thoughts. So anytime I spot a Gemini, I always find them in the crowd, of course, either talking, TED talking, listening, being part of the crowd, or head down on their phone. They can listen to you, drive a car, put on makeup. They're like hands. They're just always moving. And I'm telling you, they're really quick and are able to do so much at once, which essentially is crazy and pretty cool too. And Gemini is known to have thinking of crazy. Since Gemini does rule the letter C, C is communication, so you have to be mindful not to get too crazy with your dualities as you bounce back and forth. So again, be mindful of your thoughts and try not to get overly obsessive on certain subjects or things, or if you're diving into information on one subject, try not to get obsessed with it and let it overtake your thoughts to where you have no room left. So that's why it's important to breathe. It's important to it's great to have mental stimulation, but it's also important to slow that down as well too. So Gemini's number is 3. It is ruled by, in the Vietnamese zodiac, the tiger. And the crystals for Gemini are actually agate, calcite, and opal. Your day is Tuesday. Gemini's motto is I think. Geminis teach us duality, to grow, to think, to be curious, to ask questions. Read my lips, said the Gemini. Communicate, connect, be adaptable, and be versatile. Thank you so much for joining me here on Stars on Stage with the Sun sign in Gemini. We have Cancer season coming up. We're diving deep into the waters, and that will be July 8th at 8:08 p.m. So join me. Once again, thank you so very much, and I'll see you here soon. Never stop shining bright like a diamond.